Hi everyone, Edna Kimble, Edna Sells, Century 21 Wright Real Estate, and welcome to today's 2-minute tip for Tuesday. And today we are talking about investors who are selling their property with a tenant occupant. Okay, some of you may have been denied to work with me because you have a property that is tenant occupied, and I was not willing to take it on. And let me tell you why. I do take them on, but only under certain circumstances or situations. When the owner is selling a property that is occupied by a tenant, the tenant 99.9% of the time does not want that home to sell. They want to continue their sweet setup. And the issue most of the time that I have a problem with is when it's a family friend or a family member that's not actually paying rent or is paying just a very minimal amount. I can absolutely assure you that person is not going to do anything to help me sell your property. And in fact, what they're going to do is they're going to basically make my life miserable and even maybe slander me a little bit. So let me give you an example. I had a lovely seller that needed to sell a property, but their cousin had been living in it for the past 4 years. Her circumstances had changed significantly, the owner, and she really needed the cash flow from that property. So she notified the family member that she was putting it up for sale, and they said, no problem, we'll work with Edna, we'll help you get it sold. Every time I contacted the tenant to show it, they would not respond, they would not answer. The seller then contacted him. They said, oh, no problem. I don't think she's got the right number. Everything was an excuse. So then when I finally got a buyer into the home was completely filthy. Their dogs were everywhere. They were super aggressive to the client. And just honestly downright nasty. So if you are an owner of a tenant occupied property, whether they're paying rent or not paying rent, please be mindful that it's not always in your best interest to leave the tenant in there while you're trying to sell it. So now I have some real specific points that I make my seller and the tenant do. I only contact the tenant to set up appointments through a group text so that the seller can see all of the communication, because a lot of times the tenant says, I never got the message, they didn't give me notice, they were rude to me, whatever. I will take photos and video once I show up at the home so that the owner of the property sees exactly what I'm seeing. So if you really truly need to sell the property and you have a tenant in there that is month to month, you may want to think about actually giving them their notice so that you don't run into these hiccups. Because if you have a timeline or a deadline to sell that property, the tenant has no reason to help you with it. So that's my 2-minute tip for Tuesday. Thanks everyone.